I put all this together now, everything I've taught in this chapter, and show you the steps in factoring. And I show you these steps right over here. You know, we're looking right here, you know, factor out the GCF. Then factor the trinomial. When we factor the trinomial, you got to look for special cases first. If there aren't any special cases, just factor it like you know how to factor it. Then at the very end, you got to look for special cases again. And we'll show you that all through those steps. So right here, factor out the GCF. So that was the very first thing we taught you. It looks like between 8, 12, and 4, there's a 4 that comes out. Between x cubed, x squared, and x, there's an x that comes out. So 4x times 2x squared is 8x cubed. 4x times a positive 3x is 12x squared. And 4x times plus 1 is 4x. We got that. So now we're factoring the trinomial. You look for special cases. Is this a perfect square? Wait, hang on a second. Let me do this with a different color. Is this a perfect square? Yes, its root is 1. Is this a perfect square? No, nothing times itself is 2x squared. So there aren't any special cases in this case. So what we're going to do is we're going to factor this trinomial just like you factored all the other trinomials. You know, you have to factor this 1 into 1 times 1. You have to factor this 2x squared into x times 2x. Now and we're looking for signs. This tells us that both the signs are the same, so we look into B. It tells us both of them are positive. All right. We had to find out 2 factors of 2x squared and 2 factors of 1 that when multiplied together give you a sum of 3. And it actually works out in this case. 2x times 1 is 2x. X times this other one is 1x. 2x and 1x is 3x. So this thing right here is factored completely. Okay. Oh, I also have to, we already did that. I also have to look for special cases. Sometimes you get special cases in these binomials. Doesn't end up happening here. So we're good to go. Let's look at the next one. So here we are right here, and we're going to be doing this 3x to the 5th minus 243. So we factor out what we can factor out. There's a 3 that comes out of both, and there's an x that comes out of both. So we're going to look here, 3x times an x to the 4th is what that would be, and 3x times a negative 81 is what that one would be. All right. Now, remember, that's GCF. Now you're factoring the trinomial. You look for special cases. This one right here is a special case. It's the difference of 2 squares. Okay? So the difference of 2 squares has the square root of this x to the 4th first. It has the square root of this 81 last. One's positive, one's negative. We still have this 3x out front. So I just factored that. I can't factor the trinomial. This is actually it. And so then the very last step is look for special cases again. I want you to look at this one right here. This is a special case again. This one would factor into, it's a difference of 2 squares again. It factors into x plus 3 and x minus 3. And you still have 3x, and you still have x squared plus 9. So this one factors into those 4 factors right there. Now, you might be asking why this one doesn't factor. Well, it's not the difference. It's a sum of 2 squares. The only time it factors is if it's the difference of 2 squares. All right. So since we're all putting this all together, it's rather challenging. So if you're not picking this up in one problem, don't worry about it. We do all this practice just for those reasons. So let's look at this one. I'm going to factor out the GCF. looks like 6, 14, and 8. Looks like 2 comes out of there. X cubed, x squared. Sorry, this should be a squared from my book. I wrote it down wrong. And x, there's an x that comes out. So 2x times 3x squared is 6x cubed. 2x times a positive 7x is 14x squared. 2x times a positive 4 is 8x. Okay, so now we're going to try to factor this thing right here. All right, this breaks into 1x and 3x. This breaks into 1 times 4 and 2 times 2. Signs are both the same. They're both positive. So we've got to find a sum. We've got to find two products of 3 and two products of 4 whose sum gives you 7. So we do this. Let's try 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 2 is 2. 6 and 2 is 8. That doesn't work. How about this? 1 times 4 is 4. 3 times 1 is 3. The sum of that's 7. That works. So this is going to be 1x and 3x. I said 1 times 4. And I said 3x times 1. That's going to give you 3x. That's going to give you 4x. That's going to give us 7x. That's what we wanted. So this one right here, oh, and then you look for special cases again. It's not going to happen in this one. So 2x times x plus 1 times 3x plus 4, that's totally factored. That's what you want.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.